It is time to take a look at what's going on our legal corner today with CJAD 800 legal contributor. That is Chris Dimakos. And Chris, today it's all about mortgages. I know we talked about this probably a while ago, but it's very much in the news. New report on the state of mortgages in Canada shows some pretty distressing signs, beginning with the fact that mortgage delinquency rates over the past 12 months saw a 52% increase. And that's just the beginning of the bad news, because for balances that are 90 days or more overdue, they're up almost 30%. So let's deal with this, Chris. You're one of those people who find yourself in this situation. You don't want to lose your home. What are your options here?
Right. So what the reports that are coming out from all the different credit bureaus and the CMHC are basically saying that Canadians are in trouble. And they're in trouble in two ways. One, the fact that the interest rates are up and it's time to renew, their mortgage payments are on average up about $500 a month. That's just the average. Some are more. And what that's doing is it's taking away their disposable income, so they can't even pay their credit cards anymore, and we're starting to see those delinquencies go up. So if you are in a situation where, unfortunately, you can't afford to pay for your credit card payments or your mortgage, the last thing you want to do is do nothing. You have to be proactive on that, and you have to get in front of what's inevitably going to happen, which is at one point in time, you're going to get phone calls from the credit card company or even your bank or your lender, and it's going to tell you, hey, you have to make arrangements here, because if you don't, we're going to take measures to either repossess your home or file proceedings to collect your money. And we have within our legal system tools for consumers to be able to deal with that. And I know everyone talks about bankruptcy, and that's an option. Bankruptcy is an option where you basically surrender your assets and you erase all of your debt. But for those who want to keep their home and want to keep their car, and based on where their kids go to school, and there's a lot of things riding on their house and their car, we have what is called proposals, and those are available to people to negotiate. They go and see a trustee, a licensed insolvency trustee, and they basically make an offer to all of the people that are owed money, credit card companies, and they say, listen, we can't pay for all of it, so we're going to make you an offer to pay off 20, 30, 40, sometimes even 80. You can even go higher, but we need the interest to stop, and we need to have a fixed payment over the next 3 or 5 years to basically resolve this issue. And what that does is it just, first of all, eliminates all of the major interest rates and the fees and the penalties, and it lets people get back on their feet. So again, the last thing you want to do, and there's other options as well. I mean, I just named one, but the last thing you want to do is just let this accumulate. Sure. Avoid your phone, avoid talking to your bank, because when they don't get someone on the other side of the phone, internally, their files say, hey, this person, we can't reach them. They're high risk. Start initiating proceedings to try and recover whatever money we can.
Okay, I want to touch on a couple of things you said. So number one, I started by talking about mortgages, which is obviously a huge one. You're talking about bills in general as well. So let me go back to mortgages for a sec. Let's say you find yourself in this situation, right? You can't afford it. You're going to renew a mortgage. We know a lot of them are coming up for renewal, and it will cost a whole lot more. As you said, on average, at least $500 more. Your bank doesn't want to take your home away from you either. I mean, we kind of have to understand that at the beginning, right? They want to have their mortgage paid. They're not looking to take your home and then lose money when they sell it, because more often than not, that's, I think, what happens. What kind of flexibility do you have with your bank specifically in the case of a mortgage, or your finance company, if that's where you got it from, to simply say, look, I can't afford this, what can we do?
Yeah, that's such a great question. I can tell you from hearing people speak that I deal with on a daily basis who have been in that situation, the banks are a lot more flexible today than they are, let's say, 5 years ago. And the reason for that is because there are so many Canadians and Quebecers who are on the brink of not being able to pay their mortgage. So like you just said, they don't want you to default. They don't want to have to pay lawyers to take back your house and sell it at a loss. They want you to be able to pay for this mortgage. So the first thing you want to do is you want to get into contact with them, and you want to find out if there's anything they can do in terms of modifying your mortgage now, whether that be to refinance, to increase your amortization. There are different tools that they have that they might be able to provide you with so that you can get through this rough period. But at the end of the day, if you are not able to pay it because you lost your job and you have no income, again, it still takes time for a bank to be able to have a judgment where they can take your home back. And we're not talking about weeks, we're talking about months. So in that time, instead of avoiding it because you're stressed, if you deal with it, maybe even possibly selling your home, and you can recover whatever equity that you have in that house. You can at least take it back before the bank ends up repossessing it from you. And again, you have not days or weeks, even months. It takes time for the bank to give you a notice and to let you know. And if you negotiate with them and they hear when they call and you answer the phone and they know they can reach you, they feel a lot more comfortable working with someone like that than, for example, someone that's not answering the phone or not answering any emails that we send them. So again, the key here is you want to get ahead of it. You want to ask and see what your options are, and always stay in communication with them, because that basically removes any anxiety that you are MIA and they're not going to be able to locate you.
Yeah, and to your point, and I wonder if people realize that too, and I realize when you're underwater, right, and the money is an issue, you want to avoid this as long as you can, hoping things will get better. But as you just said, in the case of a mortgage, don't wait for that day that your mortgage is going to expire to call the bank. If this is your situation, the earlier you do this, the better, right? And that shows good faith as well.
You're absolutely right. And it goes for all situations that, debt related. You don't want to wait around, because you can try and be optimistic and say, well, maybe one day it'll get better. Maybe if I just ride this out, maybe I'll make more money. Well, if your mortgage payment is up 30% than it was, chances are, even if you find another job, you're still going to be in a tough situation. So you want to take some hard decisions, and sometimes the hard decision doesn't mean it works out great, but it's definitely better than the worst possible scenario. So, and again, the numbers, the way they're coming out and the reports are coming out, people are talking about housing prices going up. I'm not so sure, because if we look at what happened in the U.S. with that major meltdown, everyone reached a credit crunch where they weren't able to basically sell their home and cash out a whole bunch of equity and buy another house. It looks like prices are at a point where people have reached that threshold where they're not able to get any more credit. I mean, their mortgage prices are too high, and there's no more credit card availability. So it doesn't look very good. And I think the advice is deal with your situation, put down on a piece of paper exactly what your expenses are, look at how much is going out, and take a look at what you're making. And if there is no feasible way for you to be able to meet all of those debt obligations, well, then you have to start making decisions, find out what your options are, and then make those decisions. And sometimes if it means selling, or if it means making a proposal, whatever the case may be, at least you're going to get ahead of it. And once you're done, once you go through that process, you come out on the other end without any debt whatsoever, and you can start fresh. So the key here is be proactive, get ahead of it, and communicate with the different parties and find out what your options are.
Last question, 30 seconds. Someone asking, say you miss a mortgage payment for the first time. Do you have to worry that the bank will seize your house?
Right. Another great question. So if you miss a payment, what usually happens is the bank sends out a notice and saying, hey, you missed your payment. We're going to try and take that payment again on this date. And before the bank does anything legally, usually they wait till you miss 2 or 3 payments. And when that happens, we're talking about 2 to 3 months. When that happens, well, then the bank sends you official notice that, hey, you're in default here, and we're going to start taking legal proceedings. Once that gets done, you're still not going to find yourself in front of a judge in terms of just hearing what your position is on a lawsuit within another 2 months. So what I usually tell people is, if you're not able to pay and you stop paying your mortgage, you're talking about a couple of months before anything litigious happens in front of a judge. And at that point, if you keep the communication open with your bank and you let them know, here, this is what I'm trying to do, chances are that's going to extend even an additional couple of months.
All right.
If you don't talk to them, it'll shorten that delay by a lot.
Chris Dimakos, as always, great advice. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Aaron.